Bueller. You pick me up. We got a little technical difficulty here. Just a minute. You guys are the lucky ones because we're actually recording this today. So you won't be in the video, but we're doing this, and I've actually started up a new academy. And so with that, I want to be able to have videos of what we're doing here today. And this course is actually going to become a multi-part course in the academy. So like when you sit this 3-hour course, you'll be able to go in and expand on the topics that we covered here today. So. Testing 1, 2, testing. You got it? Is it? It looks like it's picking me up. Okay. All right. So I'd like to welcome you all. We're going to go ahead and get started. We did have a lot of reservations today. Obviously, they must have got stuck out in traffic or whatever. But I'm glad you guys are here. I appreciate it. We're gonna have a lot of fun here today because not only are we going to cover a lot of great information, but then we're going to finish up with some wine and maybe some cheese and crackers and just have a good old time together. Okay, so hopefully you're all here for the surefire ways to recharge your real estate career. Would that be a yes? Yeah. Okay, good. Then you're in the right place. So I'm going to go ahead. We have a few sponsors that have helped make this possible today. So I'm going to go ahead and invite them up here. So Tammy, if you want to come on up for a minute, go ahead and come around and come through this door here. Tammy is with HWA Home Warranty, and so she's going to just tell you a little bit about what she has to offer and how she can help you in your business. So
we didn't want to knock anything over.
Yeah. So come on in.
Okay. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Birchler. I'm with Home Warranty of America. My information is right there where you're sitting, right below your wine glasses for later. But my business card is there in our smaller brochure. I also brought some nail files and some things in the back if you want to grab some before you leave. But we are a 13-month home warranty here in Central Florida. Does everyone know what a home warranty is and what it covers?
Yeah.
Yep. So a quick and easy way to remember that is if you remember the word plumbing, electrical, appliances, cooling, and heat. 5 essentials of the home, 5 essentials that we cover. We obviously do cover more than that, and that's all listed in the brochure. But I did want to let you know that we cover listings. So we do have seller's coverage for up to 6 months while the home is listed. We have buyer's coverage, 3 plans to choose from. All plans are under $625 and are 13 months. And then we also have plans for those clients that have closed with you that did not get a warranty. It's called HWA After. It's the same plans on the brochure, but it's a 14-month warranty. Because they're not going through a real estate transaction, they do have a 30-day wait. Then the warranty starts and they can either pay for it in full or do payment plans. So when you're making those touches back to your past clients, checking on them, if one of them goes, oh my gosh, I just had to replace my refrigerator, I just had to put $2,000 into my AC. That's a perfect client to say, hey, I partner with a home warranty company that can still put a warranty on your home, even though you closed a couple months ago. So my business card is there. I am local. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I know you guys don't work 9 to 5. I do answer the phone after hours and on the weekends. I want to be your partner and I want to be the support for you when you need help with your home warranties. And thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Let's turn it over to Ashley.
Ashley Cox, Title Team.
Hi, I'm Ashley Cox. I'm with Title Team. We are a boutique title company. We work with teams all over the state of Florida. The unique part about us is we offer complimentary mobile closing on our listings, which makes it a lot easier for y'all. You can come to the office, you're welcome to, but we feel like the closing experience has kind of changed. and people are going 100 different directions. Just like today, traffic, people are like, if they have to go too far, no one wants to, get off work and take time to go from A to B, and it makes it a lot more convenient and easier on you and your clients. So that's definitely an option. Another plus about working with us is we do things a little bit different. We're not cookie cutter. My job is to be outside in the field, helping agents grow their business, talking about marketing, sharing our tools to help you grow your business, whatever that looks like for you. We have an awesome tool that will help you plan out a farm area. And whatever that may look like for you, we can sit down and kind of discuss how the program can work for you. A unique part about it is it pulls these amazing property profiles that will be anywhere from 8 to 20 pages, and it works across the United States too. So I don't know if you have any, partners across the United States, but it will tell you a ton of information that you can take back with you. And that way, when you go to your appointment, you can, ask questions that you kind of already know the answer to. If there's any probing questions you need to ask, a good feature for also if you have buyers. So if you have someone in town, you're showing houses for a couple of days, let's say you have 5 in a row, I would pull all 5 of the property profiles. I wouldn't necessarily give the profiles to your client because there's a lot of information about people's mortgages and all different kinds of things. So I would just use it, kind of keep it in your back pocket. So that way you're like the know all be all on all these. So my name's Ashley and I am all over Central Florida. If you would like to set up a time to meet, my card's on the table and I'm happy to do so. Have a great day.
And Brian Tews of Tews Lending.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. What's going on, guys? It's like mortgages for last. Look at that. So as Paul mentioned, my name is Brian Tews. I'm the president of Tews Lending. We are a residential mortgage broker, so we only do residential. We're right here downtown, about 15 minutes up the road, 20 minutes with this traffic, but we service the entire state. And similar to what Ashley just said, we're not just cookie cutter. So we do have your standard FHA, conventional, etc. But we get pretty creative. So as an example, if you guys have heard of Hometown Heroes, you heard about how they ran out of funds. Did you know that the city of Orlando has down payment assistance for only specific lenders? We just got approved with them a couple weeks ago. So your clients that were maybe trying to do Hometown Heroes and couldn't, now we have an option, right? We have another option, FHA, 100% financing as well. So we have some of those unique ones. Another one as well, actually, our realtors love these, is where you have tax returns and you write off all your expenses, right? So you don't have to pay Uncle Sam that too much money. Well, how do you still qualify for a home? So we jump in and actually take a look at your bank statement. So we have unique ways like that to be able to qualify you guys. Earlier this year, we also got another program for Airbnbs. We all know that's a hot topic. So not just long-term rental, but if you have a client that's trying to purchase an Airbnb, again, anywhere in the state, we're your contact for that. We're your partner for that. If you guys have ever heard or thought about the 30 to 45 day time period to actually get to the finish line to get the keys, our average loan approval is about like 19 days right now. So we're less than 3 weeks. We're getting your client the keys, we're getting you paid. So we move pretty fast as well. I'm going to be sticking around through the class. I'll be here after. So you guys have any other questions, let me know. I ran out of cards towards the back, but I think all you guys probably had my card there. But again, if not, again, reach out to me and chat with me after. Again, Brian Tews, Tews Lending. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, they're my book bag.
Oh,
yes, thank you.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so I am Paul Fedinich. I am your instructor here for the next 5 hours. And good. Happy you got it, happy you didn't, but that's okay. No, 3 hours. 3 hours, and then we're gonna get into the wine. We got wine on display. We've got books on display too. Because every time I do an event, I bring books that I give away. So we'll do a little raffle at the end for a book, and then I also give away books. If you love what I do today, I'll ask anybody that wants to do a video testimonial for me. We'll actually get one of my books that I've written and signed by me. So, and if you don't like what I teach you here today, just don't tell anybody. Just go home and get everything. Okay. Now you've all got your textbook, right? I'm gonna basically what I'm teaching is from this textbook. I only refer to it in a few instances, but what I want you to do is take good notes and then keep your textbook. What most people do when they get home is the text from their class goes in the recycling bin or in the trash. This should be a reference book for you, okay? Because there's a lot of value in this. And I wrote this course based on my experiences. I've been in this business for over 20 years now. I've been a managing broker for over 8, and I have worked with hundreds of agents from all different calibers and in many different areas. And so what I've done is I actually was creating a course about the pitfalls and how to avoid them, right? But I found that was too negative because all we were talking about was all the things agents do to make them fail. So what I wanted to do is create a course that is going to be helpful. We'll talk about some of the pitfalls, but all the things you can do to avoid those pitfalls and keep your business going. So let me ask this, how many people are new to the business? Anybody? Okay, so we've got one new first year? First year, okay. Anybody other 5 years or less? Okay, 5 years or less, then 5 to 10 years? Okay, okay. So we've got a little more than half the classes is a seasoned agent, and then we've got 2 that are a little bit newer. So that's good, because you know what, this class that I wrote is actually, it covers the spectrum. Whether you're new or whether you've been in the business 20 years, there's going to be things that you're going to benefit from in this class. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about why did you choose real estate and what were you thinking? Right? And some of you are probably feeling that pain now. You'll have to excuse this because for some reason I can see it there, but it just blanks off. So hopefully it doesn't affect you like a strobe light will. But we're going to learn some of the common pitfalls of agents, how to overcome them. We're going to spend a lot of time on how to run your business like a business. We're going to talk business in here today, okay? Because that's so critical. Generating business and effectively market yourself, prospecting, addressing some marketing rules, which will be in your book, and then getting some ideas on how to choose the right brokerage for you. I am not here to recruit anybody. I am not here to try to influence anybody to change brokerages. But I've included an entire segment, but we're only going to touch upon it for probably 15 minutes because it's important for you to know and understand what other brokerages are doing. But always understand that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So I'm not a big advocate of jumping ship and go to another brokerage because it's most of the time, it's not the brokerage, it's you. So, we're going to talk about some of that today too. So you get a better understanding of startup costs, and we're going to create a list of activities to do once you leave here today. So we have several different segments in this class, and each segment is going to follow up with activities for you to do. So when you leave here today, you should have a good list of things that you can do right away, right? When you leave a class, you typically, oh, that was good. I got some good information, but then you go home and it's back to business as usual. This is going to give you some activities that you can go and implement, whether it's later today when you get home after a little bit of wine, probably not good, but by tomorrow, you can refer back to this and say, look, these are the action items that I said I was going to do. And so as of today, this morning, being tomorrow, this is what I'm going to put on my schedule. So I've broken this down into 3 segments. Know your why, run your business like a business, and how to choose the right brokerage for you. So before I get into it, let me ask, what is the biggest challenge you're facing today? Now, I did this class last week, and I have their answers right here. But I brought this with me because I'm like, you know what? I bet you I'm going to get the same answers today. So what's your biggest challenge right now in business?
Generating leads.
Generating leads. Yeah, that was number 2. Okay. What else?
Low inventory.
Low inventory. Yeah, that was number 3. What else? Come on, what are you struggling with in this market, right? Especially
Interest rates.
Interest rates. Well, that wasn't a problem because I was part of a mortgage thing last week, and so there are other classes that covered the mortgage rate, right? So, but interest rates, right? That is a problem. That is a problem. Let me mark that down here because I'll carry that forward. So I teach this class again next week in Marathon.
Do what we can.
Yeah. So these are problems, right? This is what we get all the headlines saying all these things, there's no inventory, listings are the other one, right? Trying to find listings, right? We can't get any listings, there's no inventory to sell, how do we generate leads? And of course, the other one was, having a productive schedule. So other than the schedule is up to you, right? You gotta have the discipline and the capacity to create your schedule. In fact, we just talked about this in my mastermind this past Monday about time management. And time management is really more managing what you do with your time than it is managing time, because you can't manage time. Time is a constant, it just keeps going, no matter what you're doing. So when you're trying to manage your time, it's a matter of setting up your calendar to where you're being effective with your time, you're getting things done, and you're prioritizing everything that needs to be done. So we'll talk about generating some leads. But look, the fact you say that, we can't get listings, there are no listings, there's no inventory, and generating leads. Let me ask you this. Are there homes being listed every day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are those homes selling every day?
Yeah.
So is there inventory that's being sold?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So where is it all?
Mindset.
Yeah, right upstairs. It's the way you're looking at it. And I talk from experience in this because I went through 2008. Okay, and it was rough back then. And everybody around me was like, oh, the market. But I was like, wait a minute, they're making money and they're making money, and why aren't I making money? Okay, and I worked with a coach, and the coach changed the way I was thinking, and all of a sudden, boom, like that, I'm now off in a new direction. And 2009 was great. 2010 was one of my best years. I was number 3 for Coldwell Banker in the state of Delaware. So, and then I got recruited to become a managing broker. So, and then as a managing broker, I had to deal with everybody saying, oh, the market. Okay, so it really comes down to you and how you're thinking. And so we'll talk a little bit about that today. So are you ready to get started?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're ready to get started, let me hear it. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Ah, there we go. Oh, that was so much better. So much better. All right.
Yeah.
So let's take a look here. So what is success to you? This can be defined in so many different ways, and everybody will define it a little bit differently, right? For some people, success is making a lot of money. For some people, success is having the money to spend a lot of time with their family. For some people, success is I don't know, I can go on and on. So for some, it's just, they can flip all the homes that they want, right? So how do you define success? And you should think about that. What is success to you? What are your dreams, your visions, your goals? Because that's going to require actions, patience, and persistence, and that's what's going to help get you to where success is. Now, success has a lot of ingredients in order to be successful. And there's even some of the ingredients are missing on there. There's some more that I can add because there was a couple mentioned last week. I was like, oh, that was good. So I haven't added it on there. But this is the ingredients of success. Okay, so it's not just one or two things that you do that's going to make you successful. It's a culmination of many different things. There's one ingredient missing here that is the key component to your success. Can anybody tell me what that is? It's your desire. Your desire. Do you have that burning desire, that fire in your belly to do whatever it takes to be successful? Okay, because if you don't have that in this business, you've probably experienced how hard you have to work. If you don't have that desire and that fire in your belly, you're not going to do whatever it takes to be successful. You're going to do whatever it is to get you going, and that's probably about it. And in fact, it might be just enough to make you think, well, you know what, this business is not for me. So you have to find that. Well, how do you find that? Well, yeah, first of all, why did you choose real estate in the first place? And as Dr. Phil would say, what were you thinking? Because it's really, I tell you, this is a tough business, isn't it? It is not easy. It's not like it shows on HGTV. You go show 3 homes, you sit down for coffee and, all right, which one do you choose? No, it's not like that at all, right? You know, it's like, we worked the other night, we put together, we were under the gun to get an offer written and get it presented. We spent till 10 o'clock, you know, getting it ready to go. And then it's like almost 24 hours later, we're like, where's the offer back? You know, why haven't they signed off yet? So it's just, you know, it's a big game of cat and mouse, you know, and it's a huge roller coaster that sometimes, you know, I know there's a lot of people in this business that like to say, well, you know, you don't have to ride that roller coaster, right? You should be shooting for this. And yeah, it'd be nice to shoot for this. And when it happens, it does happen sometimes. But you know what? I've been in this 20 years and me and my wife, just for the past week or so, we're like this. It's just, and you know, we know how to control that, but the stuff comes at us so fast sometimes that, you know, that's going to be our life for the next week or so, right? So we accept that. There is no such thing as a life-work balance, okay? And you shouldn't shoot for a life-work balance. You should shoot for harmony. Harmony in your life, right? You understand that, yeah, there's going to be days I'm going to be burning the midnight oil. But then there's going to be days where it's like, you know what? We can take today and let's go to the beach. Okay, because we can do that. So let's do this. We're gonna do a little exercise. I need everybody to stand up. Okay, because what I need you to do is we're gonna do some knee bends, right? Okay, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. You can all sit down. You can The exercise really is more for getting you up, getting the blood flowing, because just by getting up and sitting back down like that, it pumps your blood a little bit, gets you a little bit more alert so that you're ready to learn. But what I do want to do is, as far as the exercise goes, I want to talk about this particular exercise, and it's at the bottom of page 2 in your book. So we're this far along, we're only on page 2. Okay. So on the bottom of page 2, we talk about I want to, what's the contribution, and because, what's the impact? All right. So we're going to take a look at this. There's a sample at the bottom of page 2. It says, I want to make a lot of money because it's important to provide for my family. All right. Well, what's so important about providing for your family? Well, I want to provide for my family because being a parent is very rewarding. Well, great. Why is that rewarding? Why is that such a big deal for you? Well, I want to be an amazing parent because I will lead my children to being successful. Okay, well, great. Well, what does that mean? Why is that important to you? Well, I want my children to be successful because it's a part of leading a fulfilling life. Okay, and so do you understand where I'm going with that? Does it make sense? So, you know, I hear it all the time. Well, I got into real estate because I want to make a lot of money. Okay, well, why? What is that going to provide for you? Okay, it's going to provide a nice lifestyle, right? Might provide for your family. Okay, but okay, why is that important to you? You know, you keep digging deeper. So the deeper you go with that why, the stronger that conviction, the stronger that burning desire. Because as long as you remember why you got into this business in the first place and what the end result is for you, that is what's going to help you do whatever it takes to do what it takes to be successful in this business. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, I would say let's do the exercise now and have you go ahead and write that. But we're gonna move on for the sake of time. But take that, and when you get home tonight, just sit down and take a few minutes. Ask yourself, what is success to you? And then, what's my why? What's my why for getting into real estate? So, I've heard so many excuses being a broker, even as an agent. Oh, I don't need an assistant. Oh, I don't want to pay someone to do what I can do. As Gary Keller would say, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant, right? Because you're having to do all the assistant work, paying somebody to do what you, I mean, look, we should all have assistants or virtual assistants. We should have people that are part of our team that are helping us out, right? Could be a transaction coordinator. Follow me and do it my way. your broker will supply the leads. How many have brokers that supply leads? You've got a few, okay, all right, and do they charge you for them or?
Yeah, there's a referral.
Yeah, okay, so the broker gives you a lead. But if you close it, you gotta pay the broker an additional referral fee above and beyond the split. That's the normal way for brokers to do that. So some will supply and work it that way, while others really just don't supply a lead. You can do floor time or something like that, or take, some calls, but. Open houses don't work. Anybody do open houses in here? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. All day long, right? Open houses do work.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might be a day where it was a bust, the weather was bad, or just like you just did an open house and nobody shows up. That happens. It happens, but no, the open houses are a great source of business. Like, how many agents have told me, oh, I don't do open houses, they don't work. I'm like, yeah, no. You don't need a CRM. Don't pay a mentor. Why bother incorporating? Show a few homes and make big bucks. And my favorite, I heard this a lot back in 2008, and I'm starting to see agents kind of going through this right now, but why don't you get a real job? Are we not working a real job? It's, and actually we shouldn't look at this as a job. This is our business. So we are working, and we're working a real business. We're entrepreneurs. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. So, welcome to the real estate world where everybody's got their hands out, right? You guys are all getting those text messages and the emails. Oh, we've got the leads for you. We're gonna make you $1 million this year, right? They all promise you the world. And there are some good companies out there, but the key is you have to work them. If you don't work them, they're not going to work for you. And that's where a lot of agents will fail, is they get these leads, and I'm guilty of it myself. I've been so busy, I'm generating leads like crazy, and I can't work them. And so it's kind of like throwing my money away, but it's like, wow, they're still there. Last summer, I hired an ISA, they called 500 people, and boom, they stirred the pot for me. And all of a sudden, I got people coming out of the woodworks again. But in this last 2 weeks when I've been so busy, I probably have like 20 good leads from Facebook ads. I'm like, I can't do anything with it.
You don't have time.
Yeah, just trying to make the time to sit down and start making calls, it gets really tough. But if you're building your business or you're struggling in your business, you've got to make that time to make those calls. That is so critical. So, anybody familiar with Robert Kiyosaki? Cash flow quadrant? Okay, so in his cash flow quadrant, he talks about businesses and the difference between being an employee, being self-employed, running a business, and an investor. So E is for employee. You punch a time clock, get paid, you go work 8 hours, you go home, your time's yours, right? But you're exchanging your time for money. If you want to make more money, you got to go try to find some overtime pay, right? Self-employed. That's what most of us in real estate consider ourselves, is self-employed, right? But we're still exchanging our time for money. And if we want to make more money in real estate, what do we have to do? Not only spend more money, but we need to invest more of our time into our business. It means, yeah, we're burning that midnight oil a lot more frequently than we would like to, right? So, and the thing with the left side of the quadrant is you're also paying a lot more in taxes. So look, I'm all for paying Uncle Sam's fair share, but I don't want to give him more than I need to give him either, right? So if you go and you look at the right side, B is for business. When you run your business like a business, you've got systems in place. You've got people working for you, which will help you earn money. So when you're sleeping, when you're vacationing, when you just go away for a weekend, what happens? Your business is still running. Okay, you look at any McDonald's or any fast food restaurant like that. Everyone's the same. They all have a system, right? Everything works the same. And so the owner of those McDonald's, while it requires a lot of money to get into it, their system is working for them, regardless of where they are and what they're doing. So that's a great place to be, and that's where I hope that you guys here today will see the light and be able to jump from that self-employed to that business owner. Now, ultimately, we should all be striving to be the I, the investor. Okay, the investor is where your money is making you money. Okay, so now you don't have to exchange any of your time for money. You don't even have to have people working for you, other than having a team of people that you know, that are working your investments. Maybe if you're buying homes and, you know, you need contractors and things like that, but your money is working for you. Okay, and the thing with the right side of this quadrant, they pay the least amount of taxes. You know, and they make the most money, they pay the least in taxes. I don't know, it sounds pretty good to me. So how do you become a good entrepreneur? It all starts with your mindset. Okay, what's up here? Remember I said before, you know, inventory is low, the market stinks, you know, we can't find any business. Well, that's all up here. And I actually had a trainer one time tell me, and this is a little bit extreme, I don't know if anybody's in here like anti-guns or something like that, but like I have kids and I totally get it. But he used an example, and I can't find a better example to use, so I'm going to use it. He stood up in front of the group, and he said, look, you guys, if you were under the gun to get a listing, you would do whatever it took to get a listing, right? So if I had a gun to your kid's head and said, you have 24 hours to get a listing, would you go out and get a listing? I know that's pretty extreme, but yeah, wouldn't you go do whatever it takes to go get a listing? You'd be on the phone, you'd be making calls, you'd go knocking on doors, you will do whatever it takes to get a listing. I know that was pretty extreme, so I hope that doesn't offend anybody that's not meant to. And if somebody has a suggestion for a better way to put that story, I'd be happy to change it, but I can't come up with anything because that's extreme. But you know, sometimes that's what we have to face, right? In order for us to remember our why and get that burning desire going, it's like we need something extreme to wake us up and say, yeah, you know what, I got to go make those calls, I got to go do whatever it takes to be successful and to find that business. Does that make sense? So with your mindset, you know, there's a lot of elements to your mindset. Being optimistic, thinking about success, being positive, everything's possible. You got to believe in it. You got to have self-belief. You got to challenge yourself. And your attitude. You know, everybody needs an attitude adjustment once in a while. I know I do. But the thing with me is I'm aware. So I can catch myself and say, Paul, you know what? You're just being dumb, man. Just go do it. Just go do it. You know, you're making those calls and you're thinking, wow, you know what? Oh, they're probably at lunch. It's probably not a good time to call them. Oh, just make the call. See, I make those excuses too. I'm no different than you guys, right? But I when I'm making my calls, it's like, you know what? I'm making the calls. So they're either going to pick up and answer my call, or they're going to let me go to voicemail, and I'm going to either leave a message, or I'm going to call them a second time, or maybe call them a third time. So, which is a little bit more extreme, but that's how some people do it, right? Those that are a little bit more aggressive, they'll call back 3 times before they leave a message. Usually on that second call or the third call, the person's picking up the phone, right? So I know for me, when somebody calls me and they hit that third call, when I do finally pick up, I'm a little upset, but it better be a good call. So you have to make sure that when you do that, you're making a good call. I usually stop at 2, and I'll leave a voicemail on the second call, maybe follow up with a text message. I'm not that aggressive type, but a lot of agents are. And you have to decide what works best for you. Okay, there is no one right way across the board. But what you have to do is get that mindset to be an entrepreneur. And you know, you can learn this through books. I love Darren Hardy. Anybody familiar with Darren Hardy? He's got the Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster, and he's got another book. The name of it escapes me. I think both of them are actually on your reading list there in the back of your handout. But he's all about entrepreneurs. He used to be the publisher of Success Magazine. All right, and he's got a video that comes out every morning. It's a great, like, 5-minute video. I watch it on a lot of mornings, but not every morning. So, but he's a great person to follow to try to get that entrepreneurial mindset. find somebody else that you maybe connect with. That helps get you in that entrepreneurial spirit, get that mindset right, because that's gonna be so critical for you to be able to. Work as an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur is so different than being an employee. And so if you don't work that, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people fail in this business, because a lot of people, this is their second or third career. And so they're coming from a place where maybe they're punching a time clock, or maybe they're being told what to do, or maybe they don't have to worry about going out and getting business. The business is coming, right? Because the organization is providing, and they're in their office and they're doing the business. And they don't have to go out and really work as an entrepreneur to cover themselves. So let me ask you, who's on your team? Who's on your team? And I don't mean this in a way of how many agents do you have on your team, but who's your team? And let me explain why I've got this in here. I went on a listing appointment back in, it's around 2009, 2010, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Okay, it's before I became a broker, but I was top producing agent. Went on a listing appointment. Great condo. I gave a great presentation, connected well with the seller. I thought, man, I got this in the bag, but he's like, I got one more agent I got to talk to. I said, okay, yeah, no problem. Come to find out, he ended up listing with that other agent, and I called him. I was like, hey, I see that you listed with so-and-so. I just wanted to check, can you tell me why you didn't list with me? So, yeah, the other guy came, he's part of a team. And I was like, wow, part of a team. It's like, I have a team of like 60 agents in my office. That was my team, right? And from that point forward, I operated as a team. I didn't call myself, it wasn't the Paul Fidinich team, but it was whenever I talked about me, it was me and my team. So I ask you, who's on your team? Your title company, just like our team that was here today. You got lender, you got the title, you got your home warranty, you got your home inspector, you got, your broker, you've got maybe your transaction coordinator, anybody that is a part of facilitating your transaction, your CPA, your attorney. I mean, that's part of your team, right? So it's you and your team. And what you find is that gives you so much more strength when you're going on an appointment and you talk about, yeah, it's me and my team. They don't feel like they're working with just a solo person. They're working with a team of people, and they're going to be the ones to benefit. Okay, so I ask you, who's on your team? And that's really, it's really important to consider and take note. I mean, this is why, Brian is a member of our team. He's one of our lenders. In fact, he's like the #1 lender for us, because the way he's gotten things accomplished and gotten things done, I'm like, man, he's right on target. And the communication is great. Okay, so you've got to be able to, have those people on your team and have them be a part, right? So do you have a strategy and a plan? Okay, you have any kind of marketing strategy? Or do you just post on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok?
Email marketing.
What was it?
Email.
Email? Okay, email marketing. Actually, email marketing is making a comeback. For a while, it was like, okay, emails are worthless. Nobody's checking your email. It's gotten crazy with spam. But now it's like, it's kind of reverted back because everybody's getting bombarded with text messages. So those are becoming less effective, and we're going back to emails. And believe it or not, I talked to a home inspector last week. He was at this event that I was at, and I was like, man, I get your emails. I haven't used them yet as a home inspector, but like I unsubscribe from all kinds of things, right? And when it comes to our business, I don't mind getting those emails, and a lot of them I just have automatically go into a folder so I can refer to it later if I want to. But I'm like, look, you send an email that adds value, because 3 out of the 4 that he sends out a month, has educational pieces in it. So agents will look at that. They'll most likely read that. And he says his open rate is over 60%. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, that's huge. I mean, I'm struggling to get 20%, and here he is, he's getting 60%. So email marketing is good. But you know, develop a strategy for yourself. And we're going to talk about a lot of different ways where that's all coming up. All right. But what about a business plan? Does anybody work from a business plan? Yeah. Okay. Well, you should create a business plan. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It doesn't need to be a 20-page business plan. Be a 2-page. It could be a 1-page. Be 5-page. Whatever works for you, but to put your thoughts down on paper. You know, where you're at, you know, what you've done in the last year, where you're going, what's your goals for this coming year, and how are you going to get there? That's pretty plain and simple, right? And then you got to check in every so often. I plan on doing a workshop probably this fall. I just need to put something together again because I haven't done a workshop on business planning in a while, but I really want to do it because I think it's so important. Okay, it's so important to have that to where you can refer to it, because what happens is, you know, you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. So here's some action items. Okay, we've covered a lot of material already, right? In this first segment. So create a positive entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, you read some books, listen to some speakers. I used to, way back when, I do it less now because I'm commuting so much less now, working from home. But when I was commuting, I actually turned my car into a university on wheels. Of course, we were using CDs back then. Now you can't even find a car with a CD player in it anymore. But you know, put that on your phone or do whatever. But when you're commuting to going wherever you're at, you know.
What book do you recommend?
There's actually a list. I've got 15 books that I recommend. It should be in the back. Brian, did you include that list in there?
There's no books in mine.
Okay, maybe that was a separate attachment, so maybe that didn't make it. So I'll be talking about it a little bit later towards the end. I'll tell you exactly where you can get that list, okay? And everything that I'm sharing with you here today, you'll find out exactly where you can get and download everything, okay?
Thank you.
All right, so invest capital into the tools of your trade, okay? Don't be afraid to spend money. I've seen, you know, so many agents, I can't do that. I can't afford to spend money. Well, it's investing in your business. We've got to, nobody told you that in school, right? How much money you're gonna need to build your business? Yeah. Well, you got to look at it as an investment, right? And you're investing in your business, getting the tools in order to work your business. Invest in yourself. Okay, do the things necessary to invest in yourself. Okay, come on back. There you go. Assemble a team, look for an assistant, maybe a virtual assistant. And then it was transaction coordinator, develop a marketing strategy and create a business plan. Okay, so those are action items. So they're right there in your book. So tomorrow when you wake up, choose one. You don't have to do them all. Don't try to do them all. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. But if you try to do everything, you just get overwhelmed and you do nothing. So you have to just pick one or two things and then go do that. So let me ask you, what's the brand of your organization? What keeps you on track? What's the target you're shooting for? How do you maintain all of that? It helps when the picture's there. Yeah. That's supposed to be a hint.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a brain. Well, what would be like a brain in your business other than yours?
Or your CRM.
Your CRM. Very good. Nobody ever answers that. You're right. That's your CRM. Come on. There we go. Your CRM. Because your CRM gets you connected with everybody in your database, right? And you should have all kinds of information about people in your database, who they are, what they are, their different important dates, notes from the times that you've spoken to them. You know, when I was working, I worked with some people in like 2007, 2008. And then, then the market really broke down and didn't hear from these people again for a while. In 2011, when I became a broker, these people called me. And I was like, oh my God, I barely remember. So while I'm talking on the phone, I'm pulling up my CRM. I'm like, oh, now I remember. Yeah, they were walking in my office. They were a buyer. We showed them some property, and then they just up and disappeared because everything went sour in the marketplace, right? This was a second home market, so you know the beaches, they kind of dried up before everything else did. So, but I was able to pull up all the information. I had the last conversation we had all the information about what they were looking for back then, and so it was really easy to remember who they were, and then refer to them by name as opposed to trying to guess who they are. So, and how many's working on a CRM now or in a CRM? Oh, great. Yeah, almost everybody in the room. So some brokers supply a CRM. Some places, you got to supply your own. There was somebody I talked to recently said, yeah, my broker supplied my CRM, but when I left, I had to leave all my contacts behind. Look, I mean, I've worked with places that supply the CRM, but most brokers don't want that. It's usually the smaller brokers that want to try to capture your business and say, oh, broker owns everything, right? Technically they do, but your people should be your people, and you should, if you're working on a CRM that's supplied by your broker, just make sure that it's something you can take with you, or you can at least download everybody out of there as you're parting ways. So, if you're not using a CRM, if you're not happy with it, look, I have a love-hate relationship with all the CRMs I've ever used. But maybe, explore 3 different ones and find one that works best for you. I just find that there isn't one that works the best across the board, right? They all have their pluses and minuses. I have worked off of 3 different systems right now. And I don't recommend that at all, but it's kind of like how we fell into it. I was using Real Geeks. I changed brokerages. They supplied me with another system. And then my mentors that I was working with, they're like, okay, Paul, we got to get you set up in this funnel system. So that's another platform. And so I'm working off of 3 different platforms. Really crazy sometimes, but it's okay. It's working because each one has its own job to do, and they're working independently of each other. And so some are a little bit more effective at getting people to respond, while others not nearly as much. So definitely check out a CRM. So we are approaching the first hour. What we're going to do is we're going to take a 10-minute break. Okay, because this is a good segue into our next category here. But let's take a 10-minute break. Let's come back, and then we're going to jump into some deeper stuff. All right. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. We're going to get back to it here. Okay. So I have a question for you. Okay. What's your commitment? Are you interested or are you committed to real estate? And if you look on page 6, this is one of the few things I'll actually read to you. Okay, you must be committed. Are you interested or are you committed? The difference between interested and committed is that if you are committed to something, you will do everything in your power to make something happen. But if you are only interested, you will find excuses when the going gets tough or even beforehand. Just being interested in your career is not enough. You'll do what's convenient and believe your stories and excuses, and before long become a victim of your current reality and circumstances. You'll come up with all the reasons why you can't achieve your goals, and that's what you will be focusing on. So again, it's that mindset, right? So first you have to commit to what it is that you want, commit to your success, commit to your business, and then do the things necessary that are going to make it happen. So, write down your goals, part of your business plan. But, your business plan is one thing, right? You should create a business plan for the year, maybe break it down monthly. But each week, you should set your goals for the week and say, look, these are the things that I need to accomplish, and then prioritize them so that you know what you need to focus on as you move forward in your week. So, anybody from up north? Yeah, I know Valerie is. Yeah, you guys. So you have an experience being, having to do whatever it takes to survive a winter. That's why I like this picture. Yeah, winter, what's that? Yeah. That's why we live here, right? But I have lived there. I've lived where it's 20 below zero, you know, and you worry about what happens if your electric goes out, right? How are you going to survive? So you have to think about this. What is going to be your survival tactics for this business? And are you going to be willing to do whatever it takes? And only you can answer that. So you've got to connect and communicate with others. Now, how many believe that we have a communication problem in real estate? Yeah, yeah, right. This is a big problem. And part of that problem is that nobody wants to do anything about it. If you look at the teachers, the classes that I teach, and actually a good part of them are right here on this banner, right? That's why I put them here. I want people to see. Look, I offer these classes. Some of them have to be done through board offices. Some of them I can do on my own in places like this. But I've done a lot of courses on communication because I thought, and I've not only seen it as an agent, but as a broker, and I thought, man, we need agents learning to communicate better and more effectively, because that will eliminate so many problems for them. It will eliminate, or at least, you know, cut back on the amount of conflicts that agents deal with. And so, you know, getting a good understanding of communication, how to communicate, understanding who the other person is, you know, understanding their personality styles, using DISC. I have a great DISC program that I teach. I have a 3-hour CE program on DISC, and I also have a lunch and learn on DISC, because DISC is fun. Because you not only learn more about you and your personality styles, but you get to learn about others. And when you get to learn this and you get an understanding, it makes a whole difference in your approach, even to the people in your family, to your friends, to your colleagues. You'll be seeing things differently. You'll be more like, instead of getting upset because somebody did something, you'll be like, oh, he does that because he's a high D. You know, he loves conflict. He's always striving, you know, to you know, create conflict with people. So he does that because he's a high D. That's just, he's wired that way. So then it says, okay, you know what? I could just avoid that. I understand that's how he is, so I'm just not gonna engage. Right? You're able to walk away. So having that understanding and to you know, get to know who people are, you know, and going to where they are and not where you are. So what I want to ask is, you know, whose feelings do you need to be concerned with? Both? So as an agent, we actually need to be more concerned with their feelings. Right? Because if we connect and we get their feelings going, you know, and we get them to the point where they want to do business with you because it feels right. Okay, we all know about that, they got to know, like, and trust you thing, but they'll do business with you when it feels right to them. So that's where you have to connect with their feelings. You know, you've got to be concerned about their feelings, not yours. Your feelings don't matter in the equation. They really don't. It's all about them. So you have to do that. And you know, there's a lot of different ways to connect with people. You know, we've got in your book on page 7, there's some factors. There's 5 factors about being able to connect with others. So relationships, who you know, right? And so who you know, look on your social media. So through your social media, not only do you know people, but people you know people. So maybe you need to go ahead and see who those people know and say, hey, look, can you connect me with this person or that person, right? Insight, sharing what you know. You know, if you share your expertise generously, okay, people are going to connect with you because they're going to see, oh, you're an expert. You know, and that's what I'm looking for. Your success, you know, what have you done? People want to know that you're successful. You know, if you're farming an area and you're just sending them postcards, maybe just listed, just sold, the just solds are going to be a lot more effective because it's like, hey, here's a success story. So they're going to see that and it's like, okay, yeah, so I guess they are selling real estate, right? Your ability, what can you do? You know, you connect with them by, you know, the things that you've accomplished. You know, when you strive for excellence every day, that gets recognized by the people around you, because it's the things that you're doing that people will see, and it will make a difference. And then sacrifice. How have you lived? You know, when you share sacrifices with other people, it resonates with them. It might ring a bell, or they might be like, oh, wow, you know, yeah, I've gone through something similar myself. And that's just another way. Those are 5 factors: this relationships, insight, success, ability, and sacrifice, in order to connect with people. Now, and there's a method. Are you familiar with Ford? The Ford method? Okay, a couple of you. All right. Ford method is talking about friends, family. Okay. Hey, how's the family? I saw your son was playing soccer the other day. I saw your post on Facebook, and your kid was playing soccer. How'd that go? You know, anything like that. O is for occupation. Okay, everybody's working. Yeah, how's the job going? How did COVID affect your work? You know, have you recovered? You know, is your business recovered from it? You know, the corporation that you're working with, you know, have they recovered? How did it affect you? R is for recreation. I mean, we all like to talk about, you know, hey, I saw you went on a cruise. Tell me about it. Well, now they're gonna talk, right? And when you get people talking about themselves, don't they feel good? Yeah. Sometimes it's painful for us to have to sit there and listen, but you know what? You do it with a smile, and it makes them feel good. And when you make them feel good, they may just feel like doing business with you. All right. And then D is for dreams. You know, hey, if I had a magic wand and I could wave it and let you live anywhere you wanted to live, where would that be? Everybody would love to do that, right? Everybody's got dreams of where they'd like to be. I mean, I've dreamt of living in Florida. Boy, you know, after high school, I packed up my truck and I moved to Florida. I had dreams of living in Colorado. Packed up my bags one day and moved from Orlando to Colorado. Ended up in Breckenridge, not even a skier. I mean, it's, you know, so look, you know, we all have dreams, right? So anytime you can get somebody to open up about those dreams, you might find that, you know, well, how can I help them achieve their dreams? Because we are kind of like problem solvers, right? You know, I know we're classified as salespeople, but we're really there to help solve people's problems. You know, buyers have a problem, they gotta go buy a house. Sellers have a problem, they gotta sell a house, maybe buy another house. So you gotta be prepared to be able to help people regardless of where they're at. You just need to go to where they're at and not, you know, not try to bring them to where you're at. Now, how many times have we worked with an agent that is loud, obnoxious, maybe very egotistical? We got a few of those, right? Yeah, we've got a lot in it. Again, the better you are at communication, the more you can work with the agent that is that way. Because when you know that they're that type of an agent, you can enter it with a different perspective and a different process in which to handle it. Okay, so you can diffuse any kind of situation pretty quickly for the most part. I know there's some agents out there that no matter what you say or do, you're not going to be able to reel them in and get them to like calm down and not get excited. I had one agent that wonderful person, wonderful agent. She's where, you know, and she came to me one time. She's the type of person that's like, you know, she's like always talking like this. She's not yelling, but she just talks loud. And so some agents are like, you know, she's always yelling at me on the phone. I'm trying to do this transaction and she's yelling at me. I'm like, she's not yelling. She's got, and if she gets excited, it just gets elevated. So, but she actually approached me one time. She said, you know, I was doing these workshops. She said, can we do a workshop on conflict resolution? It's like, yeah, we definitely do that, right? So I did. I created a workshop, set up the workshop, and who didn't show up? The agent that asked for it and needed it the most. Okay. So that, and I say this because look, we all need stuff, right? And, you know, we had a lot of people RSVP for here, and we know that whatever number we get when people RSVP, we can expect maybe half. And so, you know, today it's really hard. Since COVID, getting people to come out in person for CE classes are a real challenge, because everybody's doing it at home with Zoom in their pajamas, and, you know, they can actually, a lot of them don't even make them turn on their video camera. So you don't even know if they're there. So, but this is so much better when you can actually get out and be a part of a class, have some camaraderie with fellow agents. You get so much more out of those classes, I believe, than sitting there and watching it on Zoom. And that's why this particular course, I've taught this on Zoom. It's just not near as effective as being here in person. So action items. You got read books. Boy, I talk about reading books all the time because it's really so important. You know, I've got, in fact, I just paused my Audible account because I've got like 150 books in there, and I probably have only listened to 50 of them. So I'm like, all right, I got to stop, you know, subscribing, and I've got to get to some of the books that are already there. Take a class on communication, become a better listener, and strive for connecting better. You know, when you're consciously striving for that connection, you're going to approach things a little bit differently, because now you're going to be aware, right? You're going to be aware of the other person, right? How they're feeling, what they're saying, what your perception is of them and what they're saying, and realize that, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's going to affect you completely different when you approach it that way versus just, you know, getting engaged in a conversation and all of a sudden you're like, what are they even talking about? You know, where are they coming from with this stuff? And so you've got to be able to do that and approach that a little bit differently. So a part of the communication is practicing scripts. And, you know, again, back when I first became a broker, one of my first workshops actually was scripting. And I actually had experienced agents that were pretty high producers, and they came to the workshop, and we sat in the conference room, and I had agents say, well, I'm not going to read from scripts. I'm like, that's not what scripting is. Scripting is to practice dialogues, to have verbiage, to have things to say when you're talking to people. So you practice scripts to help overcome objections, to know what you're talking about, to rehearse and practice before you go out into the field and work with buyers and sellers. Because if you don't do that, then you're actually practicing when you're with the buyers and sellers. So do you think, you know, you watch a TV show or you watch a movie, they're all scripted, right? Now, did they show up on the day of filming and just start reading scripts? No, they practiced and rehearsed, and they knew their scripts. Now, they might be cue cards or there might be teleprompters, but at the same time, they've already practiced and rehearsed. Look at sports teams, any sporting event. Did they practice? They practice every day. Before the game starts, they're out on the field practicing. Why is that? Because you have to keep practicing in order to keep getting better, to create that muscle memory up here throughout your body, so that when you're in the situation, in the real world situation, you're not at a loss for words. You know how to take any situation. You can diffuse the conflict. You can help somebody overcome any objection because now you know the things to say. And when you're practicing the scripts, you can practice your tonality. You can use that. Oh, I really want to understand why you don't want to buy that house. You know, you sense the difference in my tonality. You know, it's a little bit more caring. You know, you can change your tonality if you're practicing that. Now, that tonality is going to make a difference on how you're received at the other end. You have a sender and a receiver. How you send that message is going to make a difference in how that receiver receives it. So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. So when you're practicing scripts, that is going to give you the ability, you know, if you're working with another agent, right, you should have a partner and you just practice the scripts on each other, right? Maybe the second agent should be that one that wants to be that tough buyer or seller. Right? So that you have to think about it a little bit more. And the more you practice that, then look, we're all gonna deal with tough buyers and sellers. Right? So the more prepared we are, the more successful we're gonna be at it. Make sense? So here's your action items. Okay, you want to speak to your broker or your mentor about scripts. Look, there's a good chance your broker's got some scripts. Or if you have a mentor, your mentor's got some scripts. Does anybody use scripting? Yeah, you should. You should.
But I have,
You have?
I have it, but I don't.
Okay. Well, look, you should. I've spent a lot of time and money on scripting.
No, you're right.
And scripts are available to you for free. I mean, they're out there. You can just Google it. Search for scripts and dialogues that work for you. Find a partner and practice. Practice, practice, practice. I mean, that's the way it is. You know, if the more you do it, the better you're going to be. This is such a big help. When the market shifted back in 2006. It was starting to shift in 2005, and I saw some things going on, and I attended a seminar on, you know, what's happening, where are we going, how do you prepare for it, how do you prepare buyers and sellers for it, although nobody knew how severe it was going to be. They gave me dialogues to use in the changing market, and so when I was going on listing appointments, I could use that dialogue. And I walked away from some listing appointments when I couldn't get people reeled in. They still thought, well, I can put whatever price I want to on my house and it's going to sell. And I'm like, well, maybe call me after, you know, the first or second agent fails at it, and then I'll be happy to list your property, right? Or I would have the proper dialogues to use to convince them that, look, you know, instead of pricing it at 350,000, we need to be at 325 so we can actually sell it and not just list it. So having things to say really does make a big difference. And it back then when the market changed, big time. And I'm using a lot of those dialogues now. As the market has shifted again, I'm having to retrain buyers and sellers because, you know, they all had one way of thinking up to today. And now it's like things are a little bit different. So we have to educate the sellers. And like, yeah, no, we can't price it at that high. Because you're hiring me to sell your property, not to list your property. And with buyers, it's like, look, you know, your offer still has to be realistic. You know, they're priced right. So you got to get it in quick. You got to get the right offer in, or you risk there being multiple offers still. Okay, and then the price goes up because you got multiple offers and people going to bid over asking price. So one of the problems with script, and I've got it there on the bottom of page 8, and I always like to read this part because the problem is agents are notorious for practicing when it's time for their performance, when they're with the buyers, sellers, and prospects. They're not prepared to overcome objections. They don't understand how to hear the word no so many more times than they hear a yes. They don't know how to effectively overcome all the rejection that comes with this business. It can be far more brutal than the dating scene. So, and look, I know that firsthand. I've been in this business for a long time. After my initial divorce, I was single for a long time too. So the dating scene was brutal, and so was real estate. So it's very similar because when you're working with buyers and sellers, and a lot of times it is like dating, right? You got to kind of court them a little bit in order to get that yes from them. So you got to be prepared to do that. So mentorship. So who all's working with a mentor? Okay, we got 2. Yeah. Look, mentorship is so important. And that's where this business seems to have gotten away from that. Now, some brokerages are really good at offering a mentorship program for their agents, and some don't offer anything, you know, and they don't get involved. It's like, well, yeah, do whatever. If you want to get a mentor, you know, find an agent and ask them to be their mentor. And I usually direct agents to, you know, talk to multiple people and see who you actually connect with and that would want to be your mentor. I've worked with so many agents, very successful agents. They're like, you know, I'd like to mentor agents, but I can't commit to the time it requires. So if they want to ask me questions, I'm happy to give advice and do things like that. A lot of times, agents that are in need of a mentor, they don't want to make a contribution to the mentor, meaning they don't want to give up a piece of any commission to the mentor because they're giving up money. I don't want to give up money. I like that saying, I don't want to pay a mentor. I'll tell you what, best thing I ever did. My mentor, 50% of my first deal, 40% of my second deal, 30% of my third deal. Best money I could have invested in my business, because you know what? Without that, may not have had that first deal. My first deal came from my mentor giving me a stack. This is paper, stack of folders like this. All are dead files. Call these people, see if you can revive any. I revived one. But that was all it took. That was my first deal. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. And it took me 4 months to get my first deal. And I was grinding it out. I really was. I mean, we're talking working 6-7 days a week, you know, good 8-10 hours a day easily. And some days even longer than that, because I was hustling. My why was really strong, and I was in kind of dire straits where I needed to make this work, you know, otherwise, I'm like, I don't know what my other option was. So I did whatever it took. So I sacrificed a lot in order to make it happen. And so after being mentored, I then strive to become a mentor. So I've mentored a number of agents, and I think that is so important that as you become a success story in this business, that you should also strive to mentor others, because so many people fail in this business because they don't have the guidance. They don't know where to go. You know, a mentor is going to be like, hey, come on, come with me. Let's go get this done. It's a little bit different than coaching. Coaching is another side of things that are really beneficial. I've had many different coaches throughout my career, and they all have helped me in one way or another. My frame of mind coach back in 2008, like I said, everybody's talking the market. I had to change what was going on up here. My frame of mind coach took care of that for me, turned me completely around. I realized it wasn't the market, it was me. So you know, you find what works for you, but a mentor, I would strive to look for one. And you know what? I'm 20 years in the business. I still have mentors that I work with. Okay. And those mentors who are much further along than I am, they also have mentors. So the best mentor has a mentor. The best coaches have a coach. Look, it's not just, you know, some of them are in it just to do it for the money. You know, you have to avoid those, but some of them are seriously interested in helping you succeed. But look, everything is an investment in your business. So you have to be willing to invest, do whatever it takes, you know, to invest in yourself, invest in your business. So through mentorship, that gets it done. So here's your action items. Discuss mentorship with your broker. Okay, if you haven't already, discuss it with them. Connect with an agent in your office that you'd like to learn from. So, you know, I know a lot of brokers, they talk about mentorship. They're like, I don't want to get involved. So you might need to bypass the broker. You know, sometimes that's all you need, right? Instead of leaving one broker to go to another broker because you think the grass is greener on the other side, have a conversation with the broker. I've had agents leave my brokerage, and I'm like, man, they never even came to me, said that there was a problem or had a discussion with me. You know, if they had a problem, maybe me as a broker could have actually helped them. Because, you know, as brokers, we do want to help agents overcome obstacles and become successful. But, you know, we also have a lot of things on our plate, so we don't always know. So if you don't go to your broker and have a conversation with them, they're never going to know that you're having any issues with the business. So don't be afraid to reach out to your broker. They should be open to talking to you and discussing whatever it is that you need help with, right? They are there to be able to help with you. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, so many agents, they walk, oh, woe is me. Oh my God, I'm working like a dog and I'm not making any money. I'm working every day. Yeah. And I see this with new agents all the time. They're in it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. They're grinding it out. You know, they're doing everything right, but nothing's happened yet. And then before you know, it's like, where'd they go? Not seeing them around anymore. Are they still in the business? I've actually gone and looked up people's licenses. I'm like, and in Florida, I realized that, I mean, people can leave without telling me. And I've seen agents like, man, they didn't even come to me and tell me they were leaving. They're already with somebody else. You know, where I was a broker up in Delaware, they couldn't leave unless I signed off. So I knew when they would leave. But the thing is, you know, whether you're a new agent or whether you're an experienced agent, you know, just going through a challenging time, you know, you can't let that black cloud follow you everywhere. You can't be like, oh, woe is me. Oh, it's the market. Oh, I can't, you know, there's no inventory, you know, there's nothing to sell, because there are things to sell, right? There are listings, there are buyers. You know, 7% interest, but buyers are still buying, right? There's cash buyers, there's, you know, buyers that are gonna finance at 7% and think about refinancing down the road. So there's ways to make that work, and you just have to do that. So what I did was, I stole an idea from somebody. Hopefully this is in your handouts, because it was another, this is a scorecard. Is it in the back? Brian, it was a separate attachment.
I think only one of them got printed. I'll double check, but. Did they have a printer here? I can try to get it printed.
Okay, so this is, yeah, I didn't even pull it up on my laptop. And it's so touchy right now between that and the screen, I'm not even gonna try to bring it up. But this is a scorecard, right? And what this is a way for you to maybe not get discouraged. A way for you to understand that, you know, yes, I am achieving something. You know, because at the end of the day, don't we want that sense of achievement? Like, we accomplished something today, right? But in this business, it's like so much, we spin our wheels so much, and at the end of the day, it's like, oh my God, I've worked like a dog all day, but I got nothing done. So when you use a scorecard like this, so the scorecard has, read it to you, so I need my glasses. Your action items, right? These are your income producing activities. So making calls, sending emails or texts, handwritten notes, ask or send a referral, setting appointments, contact expires, withdrawals, FSBOs, preview property or meet with builder reps, watch a training video or webinar, and listen to an audio or read a book. And so you score yourself for each of those items. Okay, I call this the 360 degrees of rhythm, because we already go in circles, don't we? So if we're going to go in circles, why don't we get in rhythm with that? So by having your income producing activities, and I'll give you the Excel spreadsheet for this, so you can create your own, right? Maybe there's some of these activities you don't do, and you have other activities that you do. You can put that on there, but give yourself a score, right? And so if you score yourself, and at the end here, you score 72 for the day. And Paul told you that, you know, if you do enough of the right things day in and day out, that things are going to start to happen for you. You can look at it and say, yeah, man, I scored a 72 today. Or maybe you scored 75 or an 80 for the day, because, you know, you did that one more thing. You know, you reached the end of the day, but I'm like, you know what, before I quit today, I'm going to make that one more call. I'm going to do that one more thing before I call it a day. So you score yourself on that. And then at the end of the week, you look, it's like, yeah, man, I had a good week. I got all this done. I don't have anything to show for it this week. You know, nothing came through. But, you know, the things we do today usually provide results 6 months down the road, right? We forget that. We think, well, whatever we do today should give me some sort of result today. Sometimes that happens, but not always. Not always. In fact, most of the time, it's what I do today, I'll see some result for down the road. Could be 3 months, could be 6 months, could be a year. I mean, we worked with some buyers that were relocating from Delaware, probably 2 years before they bought. Just email them back and forth. They were on, they were in the portal. We actually, they found a house, they loved it. We did a virtual tour with them on the house, and they bought it sight unseen, and they came down for the inspection. So, you know, that was a 2-year process. You know, some people will just give up on that. They won't bother with it. You know, we'll talk about some lead generation things coming up, but you know, when you put that down here on your list and you see that, okay, I did these lead generation things today. You can feel like, okay, I accomplished something today. You think that would make you feel a little bit better at the end of the day? Yeah, I know for me it would. I need that sense of accomplishment. I've gotta have that. Otherwise I feel like, oh my God, what did I do today? And there's still days where I was like, you know, what did I do today? But if I really take an accounting for the day, it's like, yeah, I actually did do a lot today. It's just that there may not be something tangible to show for it at the end of the day. But I know that something will come from it. So your action items, real simple. Check your positive mindset. You gotta stay positive, right? If you don't stay positive, you're gonna be that, woe is me, the market, oh, the market stinks and I got no business. I can't find listings. There's nothing to sell. So, you know, I may as well hang it up, right? Work with a scorecard. Put your income producing activities on there. And like I said, I will get you that within the next couple of days. And I'm going to give you access to where you can download all this stuff. You can download the slides, you can download the textbook, and all the attachments will be there as well. So, and that's one of the things that we're recording for, is so that this recording will actually be available in my academy, so that, you know what, you might want to refer back to this. You might be like, well, what did Paul talk about? Because when you leave here today, if you implement 3 things, that would be a wonderful thing. Don't try to implement everything. 3 things would be like a small miracle. Even if you implement 1, would be a great thing for yourself. But then when you implement it, you might be like, well, but there were some other things that Paul touched upon. What were they? You'll be able to go back into the video and look at it, or just refer back to the book. Read the book, because I'm not reading from the book when I'm teaching you here. Okay. I've got all this information that's in me. The slides really are to remind me more than you. It keeps me on track. Because I can go on for hours about this stuff. That's what happens when you've been in the business this long. So, marketing and generating leads. Wow. It's probably what you've all been waiting for, right? So let's talk about generating leads. See, I'm not even following along in the book. So let me just read the top of page 11. Lead generation. Agents are obsessed with this topic. New agents are inundated with all the magic potions and shiny objects. They'll blindly spend money buying leads and then do nothing with them. A lead is a lead is a lead. It means absolutely nothing. That same lead could be working with 5 or 10 other agents. You just don't know. They could be someone who is just entertained by looking at homes, right? So look, leads are important. Leads are an important part of our business. And we're going to talk about how to generate them. And usually I would display, I've got a great Excel spreadsheet. I do have that loaded on the screen. I wonder if I should risk. Let me try real quick. Gently touch this. Boom, there it is. All right, come on. Yeah, there it is. Okay, this is a spreadsheet. This tool is super valuable. I've been using this for years, and it was first given to me. And I'm going to make this available. You can take this and edit it and do whatever you want. But what you do is you enter in how much. What's your goal? How much money do you want to make? Boy, I knew that was going to be a mistake. Come on, you can do it. You put in how much money you want to make. What is your average sale price? What is your average listing price? What is your average commission on the listing? What is your average commission on buyer controlled sale? And then it's going to break it down for you on how many leads you need. Because how do you know how many leads you need? How many leads do you need? Do you know?
All of them.
All of them. Well, I was taught, be careful what you ask for when it comes to lead generation, right? And I understand that. All right, so this is not going to work for whatever reason. I'm going to try to. let's see, there we go, okay, so. For whatever reason, that laptop just doesn't want to cooperate with the TV, so. But the spreadsheet gives you the ability to break it down, right? And so. What's your percentage of income coming from? Is it buyers or is it sellers? I like to put in there 70% from sellers, 30% from buyers. That's how I want to work. In fact, if I can go 100% with sellers, boy, I'd be real happy to pawn those buyers off to newer agents. Let them work those buyers. I think sellers are where it's at. Sellers are where you're going to make your money because now you control the list side commission. Okay, not the code broke where somebody's like, oh, they're getting, X percent, but they're only giving me this, or builders doing the same thing, only giving it a small code broke. So you get to control that. But more importantly, with listings, you get your life back. How much time do you spend on average with a buyer? Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you don't even have to answer this. Just the response alone is enough to say, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous sometimes how much time we spend with a buyer. Well, with a seller, yeah, we do spend some time with a seller, right? We have to be able to get them on board with listing with us. And then there's some preparations to do with getting that listing live, right? You want to use professional photography and you want to get your marketing all prepared. So when you go live, it's like, boom, everything is out there, right? So you got a little bit of prep work, but then when you go live, I don't know where we're at with agents at Aura right now, but I'm sure we're still over 20,000 agents. So we got 20,000 people working for us. Remember the business owner that I shared with you on the cash flow quadrant? Now you're becoming a business owner because you got a listing. And now you put it out there and you've got thousands of agents that are trying to sell that listing for you. So now your weekends become yours. Your evenings become yours. You can have somebody else do open houses for you if you want, or maybe you still like to do open house. I know some agents doing $50 million a year in business, and every weekend you can find them at an open house. That's the way he operates. Probably why he's as successful as he is. So, but the listings are what gives you the business that you need. So. You've got a lot of options when it comes to lead generation, a lot of options. And we're going to cover a bunch of them today, but time doesn't allow us to really take a deep dive into each one. And that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to record this and I've created the Academy, because in the Academy, I'm going to do deep dives into each one of these categories so that you don't have to sit and listen to how to do all of them. You can then pick and choose which ones you want to do and go learn more about how to do them. So I refer to these as spinning plates. You've all seen an act or clowns or somebody at the circus, or this was a show we went to, but the spinning plates, right? It's kind of hard to keep all those plates going at one time because something's going to break. So how do you get those going? Well, when this guy set this up, he started with one. He got that one plate spinning and he's got it spinning and it's like, okay, spinning good. Well, I'm gonna grab another one. Oh, I got two go. Oh, now I'm going back and forth between the two. Well, I got two going good. Oh, now I'm going to do a third one. So I'm spinning three. And I've seen top producing agents that have been in the business for a while. They're spinning 10 or 12 plates at any given time. Okay, because they've been doing it for a long time, but they've built from there. You can't just take 10 or 12 different spinning plates and apply them to your business if you're not already spinning any of them. Because all that's going to happen is it's going to break. You're going to get disappointed. You're going to be like, open houses don't work. Okay. Direct mail doesn't work. Internet leads doesn't work. I've tried it. It doesn't work. Well, obviously things work because it's working for different people that are very successful. And so let's take a dive into it. Direct mail. Who's using direct mail? Yeah. It's probably the most expensive way to market, other than marketing in like a magazine or something like that, which is expensive and ridiculous. But direct mail still works. And I recommend that if you want to do direct mail, you do the every door direct through the post office. Cuts your costs probably in about half. Okay. The only thing with that is that if you're farming, it's going to everybody on that route. So you can't really pick and choose. So, but if you want a particular neighborhood, you know, you might want to farm just that neighborhood. Internet. Actually, what I did was this has been in this spot on these slides. Internet leads are a big deal, and I want to dive into it a little bit more. So I'm going to save that till we get through all these other spinning plates. And then we're going to dive back into the online things, cold calling, or just calling, making phone calls. Who's making phone calls? Okay, one or two of you. Okay, I mean that's like me when I'm making my calls. Okay, I look like that almost on a daily basis when I'm making the calls, and it's frustrating, and it's hard. It's really hard, but when you get into a rhythm with it and you can make it a habit, you start looking forward to making those calls. I'll tell you, my mentor challenged me. He's like, Paul, you need to shoot for 30 conversations a day. I'm like, 30 a day? I'm like, that seems like a lot. Okay, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it. It's hard pressed for me to make 25 to 30 calls a day. And from that, I might get 8 to 10 conversations. So, but what I found was when I was making that 25 to 30 calls a day, when I was finished, even if I didn't have any positive results, I felt good. You talk about a sense of accomplishment. I actually look forward to doing it the next day. So what you have to do is get into a rhythm with that, create the habit of making those calls. And people are like, well, who do I call? Well, you call your sphere of influence. You call people that you know, people you're connected to on Facebook, old friends, people you used to work with, people from your church, people from your family. I mean, the list is endless of who you can call. So you just have to pick up the phone and call and just start making those calls. And when you're generating leads, it's those leads that you have to call. And the problem with the leads is that the leads come in, you get 5 leads today, you call them all, it's like, okay, I didn't make any connection with anybody. So now tomorrow comes, you got 5 new leads, but you got 5 old leads that you have to follow up. So now you got 10 leads that you got to follow up with. Then the next day you got 5 more new leads, and now you got 15 leads you got to follow up with, and then you got another 5. By the end of the week, you got 25, but you're trying to call all those people back. It can be a very daunting task. So you've got to have a system in place to help you with that too, so that it's a little bit more automated. You might be able to make a call if you don't reach them, have it follow up with a text and an email and go that route. So there's a lot of different ways to set up your calling system. Like I said, you can do the 2-call system, you can do the 3-call system. If you call once, they don't pick up, don't leave a voicemail. Call a second, wait 15 seconds, call a second time. If they don't answer, you can either leave a voicemail or not leave a voicemail and call a 3rd time. But wherever you stop, then follow it up with a text if you didn't reach them. Usually by the 3rd time, they're picking up the phone. But follow up with a text. Hey, I was just trying to reach out because have a good reason for having reached out. Door knocking. There it is. Door knocking. Who's door knocked in here? Okay, one. I never have. I never will. It's not for me. But I know people that are very successful at it. They have picked up listings and picked up a lot of business just by going and knocking on doors. I'm like, that's fantastic. If you're going to go, I suggest that you partner up with somebody so that at least 2 of you go together and you're not going alone, because that could be a scary thing. For me, I know that when I get that knock on the door and it's the solar panel salesman and he's trying to sell me solar and I'm in a gated community that says no soliciting, and now, he got my dog all riled up, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little pissed. So, yeah. So that's why I don't door knock, because I don't accept it very well. So I'm not gonna go door knocking. And I just don't think it's safe. And so it's just not for me. And that's okay.
That's how I feel about cold calls.
And that's
I
okay.
don't want the phone call. I'd rather answer the door, even if it does upset my dog. I'd rather answer the door.
And when you find something that works for you, you do more of that. So this is, look, what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. That's the kind of business we're in. So you have to figure that out. And what's going to work for you is whatever it is that you're going to work. And when you get working at it and it's working for you, you do more of that. And you know, that's where you're gonna get your business from. Friends and family. This is a great resource. And I always tell this story. There is a state instructor. She told the story several years ago, but I'll never forget it because she's like, she went to visit her mother. Her mother's bedridden and they were getting ready to move her to assisted living. And they were talking about putting the house up for sale. And the mother was like, yeah, go in the desk drawer over there and grab me that stack of cards. So she went back, pulled up a stack of postcards and she said, what is, this is who I want to list my house. She was like, but Mom, that's what I do. And I'm like, that's crazy, right? But you know what? We have family members that won't hire us or won't work with us on the sale of their home because maybe they don't want you to know their stuff. Or maybe, you know, my mother probably still looks at me at the little boy, you know, and I never became an adult. I'm always going to be the little boy. So, you know, there's a number of reasons for that. But look, these are resources that are at our disposal and we should use. Now, okay, this is like magazine advertising. Okay, if I were to just put an ad out there and say, hey, call Paul. Is anybody gonna call me? No, they're not. Nobody's gonna call me. Nobody's gonna call me. And that's where like magazine ads and things like that, you know, it's really tough to get those types of things to work for you. You got to give people a reason to call you. And so just running an ad that has your name on it, that you do real estate, everybody knows 15 other realtors. So, you know, to call you out of the blue, there's got to be a better reason for that. So for sale signs, great resource. So get the listings, because when you have listings, you're going to get buyer inquiries. People driving around aimlessly see your sign. You know, they're going to call. They're going to be like, hey, I want more information about this house. I want to see it now. I'm out front. So I don't suggest jumping and going to show them if they're out front, get them qualified first. But open houses, great source for leads, right? So if you don't have listings, borrow listings. Talk to the people in your office, in your brokerage, and say, look, hey, I see you got a great new listing there. I'd love to sit in an open house. Can I sit it this weekend? Okay. Most agents will be like, yeah, we'd love to do it. Some agents won't, you know, and that's okay. You go find another one. Past buyers and sellers, great resource. You know, those are people that you should constantly stay in touch with. We used to call it the other side lost souls. You know, usually, you know, the other agent didn't keep in contact with their buyers or their sellers. So whenever I was in a transaction, when it was over, I sent thank yous out to both sides. And especially when I was listing and a buyer came and bought my listing, the odds were great that they were going to call me to list when it was time for them to move on, and not their buyer's agent that they used to buy it. So again, that's why you stay in contact with them. Expires and FSBOs. That's a low-hanging fruit. How do you get to them? Because isn't everybody calling them? Yeah, they are. It's very competitive because it is the low-hanging fruit. Everybody wants the easy stuff. And you know, so it gets very competitive. So you go, the expires end up expired at midnight, you get up and you start calling at 9 a.m., they've already had 20 calls. You may as well not even bother, right? Because you're going to get somebody, if somebody actually answers, they're going to be pretty irate. So maybe what you want to do is look at the expires from a week ago, maybe from last month, maybe from 45 days ago, because they're waiting for the clock to reset at day 60. And then they're going to look at listing again, so they'll be fresh on the market. So look at the expires from back then. Maybe go back to something that expired a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. It's a great resource because at some point they wanted to sell and they failed at selling. So maybe now's a good time. So those are even better low-hanging fruit. FSBO is a little bit different. You got to take a different approach with FSBOs because why? They already hate us, right? But like 90% of them are going to end up hiring a realtor in order to get sold because they need to. That's just the way it's gonna be. They can't do it themselves. They're usually overpriced, their expectations are different. They don't know how to qualify buyers. And so they're gonna need help at some point. So maybe you gotta do something a little bit different, get creative. I was taught one time, a great way to do this, you go, you buy a bunch of shoes, right? Cheap shoes at the dollar store, wherever you can get them, and you package one up, you mail it to them, and you say something like, "Oh, I've gotten 1 foot in the door. I'd love to be able to come see you and talk to you about your home, yada, 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 and I'll bring you the other shoe," or something. Yeah, it just, you come up with something creative. When people receive that, they chuckle and they're like, "Oh, that was really creative. I'm gonna call this person." Right? So that's just another way to do it. Referrals. Referrals are key to our business. So network with agents. You know, I've had so many agents say, "Oh, I'm not going to that event. It's only going to be agents there." Well, that's who you want to network with, right? Because you never know. I've had people refer to us because they were across town. Look, some people like to work a niche, and they won't leave that niche. I mean, we live and work out of Winter Garden. We've been trying to create a niche in Winter Garden, but man, we're ending up all over the place because our marketing draws people. Yeah, I want to buy a Winter Garden, and they can afford Polk County, and so we end up down there.
Yeah.
Right, and that's just the way it is. But you know, some people won't do that. Even going to Polk County or Lake County, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm going to refer that out." So when you network with people, in fact, I had one. It was intercompany. There was an agent that was in another office in our company, but she moved from Orlando, went up north, and she called the place of referral with one of the agents in my office. So they weren't even in the same office, but they connected. They liked each other. So she sent the referral down. So when somebody leaves, they can either leave the business or leave the market. Well, what are they going to do with their old leads, their old contacts? Well, they're going to want to refer them out. So you want to be that go-to person, right? Referrals are big in our business. So when you're shooting for a target, everybody likes to shoot for the bullseye, right? Bullseye is right in the middle. It's the bullseye. Let's shoot for that. But you know, if you're playing a game of darts, doesn't it pay to maybe shoot for a 60? That's a higher score than the 50. Not the bullseye. But you know, when you're keeping score, maybe that's going to work out a little bit better for you. So we got some action items. Oh, I had a slide. Oh, you know what? I think I grabbed the wrong slide there. So we're going to go back. So what I'm going to do is, here's some action items. We're going to go back to internet leads. We're going to take a break for 10 minutes. But look at the action items. Remember to ask for the business. You don't want to ask. The answer is always no. So you've got to ask for the business. Choose 2 or 3 new spinning plates to implement today. That should be really easy, right? Because if you're not doing any of these things that I've talked about, there's got to be something there you can put in the play today. Write 2 handwritten notes a day. Has anybody tried that challenge? 2 handwritten notes a day? Yeah, no, we have. Yeah. Yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds, but it's effective. It really is. AI helps, absolutely. Yeah, if you're stuck on what to say, just, you know, use Chat GPT. It's free. Just put in there, you know, you got to put a good prompt, but let it give you, just say, you know, write me a 2-sentence line to a former buyer that I worked with a year ago, and I'm trying to write a handwritten note or something like that, and let it spit something out. You'll be surprised at how ingenious it can be, and you don't even have to think about it, right? And then you don't have to write a book. Just write a couple of sentences and drop it in the mail to them. Analyze what's working and what's not. Like I said, if you got things that are working, do more of that. Do more of what is working for you, and then connect more with those who know, like, and trust you. So let's take a short break. Well, take like 5 minutes, right? Because we've got we're in the final hour already, but we have a lot more information to go on. So we'll try to wrap up a couple minutes early so that we can start hitting the wine. All right.
I have to be on first.
I could swear I put a second copy of this slide. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get back to it. Pick me up, okay. Good. All right. Good. All right, we're back. So we are in the home stretch. And we still have a ton to cover.
Really?
Oh my God. I told you, I can go on for hours with this, but we're gonna talk a little bit about internet leads and so forth. But one of the things I've got to remember to add a slide, because I thought, another good way of generating leads is with events. And you probably have seen realtors that have done events, we're actually doing one, the wedding expo coming up in October. We signed up for that, it costs a little bit of money, but we're investing in it, and we're gonna go. I think it's like 5-6 hours long, but these are all gonna be people looking to get married. What happens when people get married? They might be selling one house, maybe they're selling 2 houses and buying a bigger house. You don't know, right? You never know. A lot of them probably are renters, but as renters, then they will become buyers. So we're probably gonna leave there with a ton of leads, and then it becomes up to us, what do we do with those leads? So it's gonna be up to us to follow up and follow through with those leads, otherwise it's just a waste. So let's talk about internet leads, because there's so many ways to be able to capture leads on the internet, right? Does everybody have their own website with their own domain? Okay, we're not talking about what your broker supplied to you, but your own personal website. Okay, that's good, because that's really important. Now, with your website, you also have control over things that you can do with it, like SEO. SEO is how you're found through the search engines. So if you have good SEO done on your website, you're going to be found by people that are looking. So they're looking for something, and you're providing an answer or a solution to. So that's a great way to be found, because you're being found by somebody that has an intention, right? It's the same with Google AdWords or Google pay-per-click, because you're paying for people to click on you because they're inquiring about something, right? They're reaching out because they're looking for something. They're searching. So you come up as a potential answer or solution for them. Versus, I do a lot of Facebook ads, and I get a lot of people, they're scrolling and say, oh, that's a beautiful house. They click on it, they want more information, they want to, oh, where is that house? How much is that house? Well, that's an ad. Okay, that house may not be readily available, might already be sold. But they just like the look of the house, they're scrolling on Facebook and they click. How many times have you done that? I know I've done it. And that's what people are doing. People are spending their time online. So this is where you got to capture them. So through SEO, pay-per-click, Google search words, things like that are going to be more intentional. Whereas if you're doing Facebook ads, it's just going to be capturing a number of leads. Now, you could run ads on Facebook Marketplace. So you can put some listings in there. Well, now you've got people inquiring about those listings. You can put some listings into Craigslist. Okay, because now you're going to get some inquiries. I don't particularly like Craigslist, but it still works. It still works. Borrow a listing, put an ad in Craigslist for homes for sale. Okay, you're going to get inquiries. So borrow listings. Borrow listings. What I really like, what's really become popular, is YouTube. I've developed over the last year, I've developed our YouTube channel. I've got, I don't know, 150 or so videos on there and I think we're up to 140 some odd subscribers. So it's growing, but I get inquiries and it doesn't cost me anything. And I get the inquiries because people are searching on Google. Google owns YouTube. So when you do a search, do you not only see websites that come up, but then you see videos that come up in response to your search? That's because, yeah, those videos have the SEO in it that they need to respond to whatever the inquiry is. So YouTube is a great way, and people are like, oh, I don't want to do videos. Well, then don't do videos, but it's a great fun way to do it because, you know, we started out going to all the different builder models and just doing tours, and I'm there with my camera and I'm walking backwards, giving the tour, bumping into doors and walls. But it was real. It's authentic. Then I got a selfie stick, so I was getting a little bit better. And then I was just doing an introduction out front using Big View. So I had a script, so I was a little bit more intentional and better at what I was saying. And then I'd stop the camera and then I'd turn it around. And then I'm with the camera walking through this way, and I know I don't talk anymore. Now I could do a voiceover and add it later, or I just go ahead and put music to it, and I have the tour going through the house. And those are getting some traction. Those are getting some people to look at it, and so it's another effective way to do this. You're going to look at builders models anyway, right? If you're not, you should be. You got to know what the builders are offering, because buyers are going there. Builders are offering, you know, lower percentage rates on the mortgages to get people in. You know, they're offering all these incentives, and so buyers are going to where the builders are because they, first of all, they want new, but then second of all, there's the incentives. So when they're going there without us in a lot of cases too. So, but you need to know what the inventory is, because we've sold a lot of new construction. And during all the craze, when we couldn't get our buyers into homes because of all the bidding and the craziness, we're just bringing them to the builders. And we were getting them into new homes that way. Worked out a lot better, a lot less stressful. So with the internet, you know, there's a lot of different ways. You can do blogging. Blogging is another way to be able to get people interested. You write some good stories, use some good pictures. Social media, look, you could be a social media king or queen in this business, but you have to really commit to that and do it in a way that you're engaging with people. I've got 5,000 followers on my personal Facebook page. I got 3,000 on my business page. I got another 1,200 on another business page. Got a few hundred on Instagram, but I'm not engaging with them because I really don't want to be on social media. But I know people that are really good, because when I go on there, I see them. Not only do I see their posts, but I'm seeing where they're posting, right? They're responding, they're writing comments on other people's posts, like in different groups that I'm a part of and everything. So that's what you need to do. You got to be engaging. You got to be everywhere on social media if you're going to use social media as a tool for that purpose. That make sense? So. And I actually have a social media guru in my academy that you can watch the video, and you know, it might be a great thing for you to get into if that's the direction you want to go in, right? Because social media, you need a lot of help. I am a former technical trainer. I love technology, but with technology, you got to keep up with it every day because it's always changing. Social media, it's changing every day. I mean, I'd go a little while without doing something on Facebook, and I go back in, I'm like, oh my God, they changed it up again. I got to figure it out, right? So having somebody that is a social media guru that you partner with is going to make a big difference, because they keep up with it because they're doing it every day. They know when things are changing, how to adapt to it. So you don't have to worry about it. So again, SEO is another way, you know, you get SEO, people are just finding it. So look at that and look at, you don't have to do it all. Don't try to do every one of these internet things, because if you do, you're going to go crazy. You're going to just not do any of it. Pick one or two. Again, these are all different spinning plates. So choose one or two that works. Email's on there. You know, email marketing. It's working. It's working again. So maybe that's where you want to go. Yeah. I think that we cover most of them, but. You know, networking too, getting yourself into some sort of network online. You know, different groups in social media, with different networks. Networking works. I know people that all they do is network. That's their only spinning plate, and they do it so well, they don't need to do anything else. Seems like that would be a lot more enjoyable, right? Because now you're just going meeting with people every day. You're in front of people every single day, and that's what we need to do, right? It's better than picking up the phone. You're face to face with people, right? That's really how you get to have a good conversation. Picking up the phone, it's like, you know, you can't see their reaction, you can't see their body language, but face to face, you can read all of that. So let's go back now. Let's advance to financial management. You should have a bookkeeper or CPA or somebody that you're working with, right? That's in your partnership. Let me read a section in your book on page 14. Not only do agents enter this business with no cash reserves, they do not know how to budget and spend their money wisely. Yes, you're going to have to spend some money. It's your business after all. But shiny object syndrome will soon kick in, and there will be some compelling stories that you'll want to buy into. Discuss these items with your mentor, broker, or coach. Because again, some of these items are good, but you have to work them. If you're going to buy in a program, then you've got to work that program. Because if you're not, it's just gonna be another one of those, well, I tried it, didn't work. Well, did you work it? Because of course, if you don't work it, it's not going to work. It's all up to you. So you got to create a budget. I used to, when I sat with new agents trying to recruit them as a broker, I used to actually sit down with a budget sheet. I'm like, put down your budget, your household budget, because I need to know how much money you must earn in your first year, just so you can carry yourself financially. People didn't know how to fill it out. They had no idea what they needed as a budget. They had no idea what they needed as a minimum amount of income to survive for that first year. So we should know that. That should be a part of who we are. We should know what our income is. We should know what we need for income, what we're spending our money on, where we're spending it. So if you're not doing that, make that a part of your business plan. And you know, work with a financial coach or work with an accountant, create a budget, part of your business plan. It's really, that's not a lot to do or a lot to ask for. So you are the CEO of your business, right? You've got to be disciplined. Through discipline comes freedom. And one of the biggest reasons why people say they get into real estate, they want freedom, right? They want their free time. They want the ability to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And how many of you find that you have your freedom? Yeah. Freedom comes at a big price. And freedom can come to you. It takes a while to get there. You know, it might take 5 years of being in the business to build your business enough and to be listing focused and being disciplined enough to where now you have the freedom, right? Because if you're taking the listings, you're not killing your time with your buyers. You can go take that cruise. And the 20,000 or agents are trying to sell that listing for you while you're on your cruise, or you're at the beach, or you're taking a weekend with the family, or whatever it is that you want to do. That's your freedom in this business. Okay, when you run it like a business, that's when you're going to gain your freedom. And if you become an investor, then you get even more freedom, right? Because now your money is working for you. Your time is all yours. But you know, business owners tend to be an investor as well. So you could be a business owner and an investor. So you got to look at that too. That takes a while to get there. But you know, my second year in this business, I was already buying investment property. You know, that was a goal. I'm like, I'm in real estate. I should own some investment property. You know, that's where I'm going to make money. And I have just one right now, but you know, I took money out of my 401k that I needed to close on this thing. I think it made me a lot more money than my 401k did with that money. So you gotta look at that, right? You can use your IRA or your 401k, and there's some rules and things that go along with that, but you can use that money to go buy a house. Invest in that property, let somebody else pay the mortgage for you, and over time, you grow you up. So it's the same thing in this business, you know, when you're running it like a business and you've got people working for you, you've got your money working for you, over time, that's gonna continue to grow. That's how you scale your business and make it bigger, where you earn more money. You get more freedom with all of that. So, create a weekly execution plan. You've got, I skipped over because lack of time, but if you look on page 15, you got 4 disciplines there, focusing on the wildly important, that's your WIG. Measure and track everything, okay? Keep a compelling scorecard and create a cadence of accountability. You know, one of the things we lack in our lives and in our business is somebody holding us accountable for our actions. And when we have somebody that is accountable, that's where a mentor or coach can come in. It is like, okay, you know what? Get ready to get on a call with them, and I'm supposed to have this done. I better go ahead and get on this and get this going. I've got to respond because my goal was to make 25 calls a day over this past week. When I get on a call, I have to report back, and if I didn't make those calls, I got to explain why. I got to give my excuses on why I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So accountability really does work. All right. All right, and suggestions on page 16, because I could have gone on in this section for so much more, but there's just some food for thought. Accept help when it's offered. You know, so many agents, especially newer agents, they come into this business and they think they're going to reinvent the wheel, and they don't want your help. You know, look, at whatever stage you're in, if somebody is offering help in whatever you need help in, accept the help, give it a shot. Because, you know, maybe they see something that you're not seeing. You know, yeah, maybe they've been through what you're going through, and they're saying, look, you know, you might want to look at it this way. Don't look for instant gratification. Like I said, what you do today is going to maybe get a result down the road. So if you're looking for instant gratification, this is not the business to be in. Get out and preview inventory, build relationships with builders, sales staff. Don't resist change, hire an assistant. Don't wait for business to come to you, go out and get it. Accept that you don't know everything and no need to reinvent the wheel. Work on your business and work ethics. Build your confidence, okay? Be trustworthy. Don't take advice from the wrong people. Learn to deliver real value. Work with strong, strategic, and effective leaders. The money is in the follow-up and your CRM. Choose the right brokerage for you, and don't forget to renew your license or neglect to fulfill your post-licensing or continuing education obligation on time. Oh, so many times we get to, you know, September 30th, like, oh, I forgot about my CE, right? And it's time to renew your license, or March 30th, or whatever the case might be. So many times we see agents in that boat. So keep up with your CE. And the thing is, don't look at it as it's just a required continuing education. Look for classes that you're going to get something from, and don't just stop at, what is it, 15 credits you need? I think it's 15, 14,
Yeah.
14 or 15 credits. I get confused between the states that I've been licensed in, but you know, I probably do 20, 30 credits a year. Okay, because I do extra core law because things change, and I want to know. I also teach core law, and I also teach contracts. So sometimes I want to go to an extra class because I want to hear from an attorney on his perspective on the contract or things that are going on out there, right? So that I can better teach it, but also I can better protect myself. So don't be afraid to take extra classes. So let's go ahead, and we're gonna wind down now with how to choose the right brokerage for you. So there's a lot of variables that go into choosing the right brokerage. And I can tell you, when I chose my very first brokerage, I got licensed in the state of Maryland because it was October of 2002, and I decided I'm going to get into real estate. So there was a pre-licensing class just starting up. And so I got in there on that Monday, did the full week, full-time class. I got my Maryland license, but I was also living in Delaware. And I know that, you know, to go from Maryland to Delaware, you just have to take the law portion. So I'm like, all right, well, let me start looking for a brokerage that I can go in. So this is in December of 2002. So think December, up north, beach market, it's cold. And there's nobody there. So I'm going from probably hit half a dozen offices. And I'm like, there's nobody here. It's dead. There's no life. There's no energy. And I walked into one office at 104th Street in Ocean City, Maryland, and there was people working. I'm standing there at the front desk. There's people coming and going. I could look at the board with all the agents on the board, and half of the agents were in, the other half were out. But I'm like, there's agents here. There's life here. And I met with the broker. I'm like, this is where I want to be, because there was energy. I needed that energy to help me with what I wanted to do, right? I feed off of energy, and I think most of us do, right? Negative energy is very contagious, right? So you got to find yourself walking away from whenever there's negative energy, but when there's good positive energy, you want to be a part of that. And that's where, you know, I chose this office, and that's how I got started. Now I've changed offices multiple times. And the last time that I changed, I actually referred back to this section because I'm like, you know what, we're making the change. I need to kind of review why I was going to where I was going, and, you know, why I was choosing the brokerages. And it actually helped me. It helped me understand what I should be looking for when we make our move to our next brokerage. So there's a lot of things to look for. And you've got lists in there, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of different directions. Now, let me ask you this. It's up, there it is, your brokerage agreement. How many of you have read your independent contractor agreement, otherwise known as your ICA? Okay, about half of you, yeah. I find that most agents have never read it. They don't know what it says. They don't know if they want to leave their brokerage, that they have to give a 30-day notice, right? Maybe a 15-day notice. Some brokers is like, no, if you want to leave, you leave. No big deal. So, I mean, they're all different, but they're not all the same. Yeah, you've got to know what's in your brokerage agreement, because if you do plan on making a change, that's going to come into play. So, something else that, you know, with brokerages, I always say there's so many different business models out there that there's a business model for everybody, right? And so it just depends too about, well, you know, are you going to land in a trap? Because, you know, sometimes your brokerage should be your business partner, right? So they should act like a business partner. They should give you things that you need to help enhance your business so you can make more money, in turn, supplying the broker with more money, right? You make the money for the broker. The broker's not out there hustling unless it's a small brokerage and you got a competing broker, right? That's a whole nother problem area that I don't want to dive into too much, but you know, I've said multiple times, I'll never work in another, you know, small brokerage with, I'm competing with the broker. And then I've gone back to one and I'm like, never again. So yeah, sometimes we repeat our mistakes, but at the same time, you know, you can fall into a trap. You know, I've seen people come into the business and like, yeah, I'm going to go to 100% brokerage because I don't want to give up any of my commission. Well, you're not earning anything yet. So, you know, is that brokerage going to give you what you need? Do you even know what you need? When you're getting into this business, you don't know what you need, right? Yeah, people that get into the business because my buddy Bob is over here at this brokerage, so I'm going to just go join that brokerage. I started with a brokerage. I started at 50%. I had a 50% split plus a 6% royalty fee on top of that. I mean, that's a big chunk of change. I got mentorship. I got everything I needed. When I reached the top, which was an 80-20 split, I was like, man, okay. So I gave the brokerage X amount this year. I'm like, Now, at the time, there weren't a lot of 100% companies like there are here, but the only game in town was a Remax office. And I went, I talked to them, and I was like, oh, so all the support and services that I'm getting from my brokerage, I would now have to pay for or hire an assistant to do for me. And I'm like, wow, the 20% I'm giving my brokerage, no brainer, right? Because I was getting value for that. So the partnership was good and that worked well for me. So you got to look at the partnership you have with your broker and see, and it might require you sitting down with your broker and say, hey, look, I'm struggling here with my business. What can the brokerage do for me to help me get to that next level? To help me get over this hump that I'm dealing with because market conditions stink. You can use that as an excuse, right? But you got to get that out of your head because you can't believe that because it's not the market, it's you. So you have to know that, right? So in dealing with your brokerages, you've got to know too, and I've got a whole list of expenses on page 20. There's a whole bunch of fees that, when you're getting into this business, you may not know about. Now, some brokerages, you have to pay these fees. Some brokerages, you don't. And it's just a matter. And look, when it comes to your splits, when I was recruiting agents, when somebody came up and said, the first question for me out of their mouth was, well, what's your splits? My reaction was, maybe this isn't the right place for you. Because if that's your number one concern, then you're not going to see the value that we're bringing to the table. So I've ended conversations right then and there because that's all their concern was the split. And if that's your concern, then go to 100% company. But if you're looking for a partnership, okay, let's talk partnership. Let's talk about the value I would bring to you as a broker. And you tell me what you're going to do as an agent to build your business. Because it is your business. I can't build your business for you as a broker, but as a partner, as a business partner, I should be there adding value to help you grow your business. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that's what, they don't teach you that in real estate school. And you don't know that when you're going out into the business. And most agents, even after 5 years in the business, they don't know and understand that. So it's never too late to change. And you should always be looking at your business model every few years. These big companies, they rebrand themselves typically every 5 years. You'll see they come out with a new slogan, new logo, do a little twist to their name, whatever the case might be, but they're rebranding. They're looking at their package and saying, okay, what can we tweak? What can we switch up? We need a new fresh look, a new fresh approach. So they rebrand about every 5 years. Well, you as an agent need to do that too. Doesn't mean that you need to switch brokerages to do that, but look at your branding. Look at what you offer. Change your tagline. Change your photo. Because sometimes, boy, I know somebody that I first met back in 2003. Her photo was already 10 years old, and up until she recently just passed away, but she was using that same photo. But everybody knew her. Her name was Joyce Snyder up in Ocean City, Maryland. I'll never forget her. But and you know what? Everybody feared her. Every agent feared her because she was so tough to work with. I did a transaction. I didn't find it tough at all. It's probably because I presented a good offer. I worked it well. I did everything right. She didn't have to do the work for me. So again, I hear from agents all the time, well, I don't want to do their work for them. Well, isn't it our responsibility to make sure that everybody's doing their job? And sometimes we have to pick up the slack. We might have to help the other agent do a little bit of their work because they're just not all there. It could be a newbie, could be somebody that just doesn't get it. There's any number of reasons why they're not doing their job. So if you look at all those fees, you got E&O insurance, franchise fees, yearly fees, transaction fees, desk fees, internet fees, phone fees, marketing fees, broker admin or additional commission fees, copier fees, floor duty fees, fees added on to referral fees, and so on. Look, these are all fees that I probably have paid these fees at different times with different brokerages. So, and that's when agents sit down on an interview for a brokerage, they don't ask about these fees. most of the time, the broker's not going to disclose all the fees. Because they're too busy talking about the split. Because that's what the agent wants to know about, right? It's all about the split. Well, but what about everything else? So you have to know that going in, that you have opportunity, you have options, okay? So you got to know these things when it comes time to be able to, choose the right brokerage for you. So let me ask you, from what we talked about today, what are some of the action items that you're going to go home and implement, like today or tomorrow? I'll rule out today because we're ready to dive into some wine, so, but tomorrow, what, who wants to share one thing that they're gonna implement tomorrow that they're not already doing?
Create a business plan,
I'm sorry, say that,
create a business plan.
create a business plan, very good, yeah. Okay, who else? We're gonna use a new spinning plate, come on, don't be shy. I saw the lips move, but I didn't hear anything. All right, nobody else wants to share? Okay, there's a number of action items. I've given you action items. You don't even have to think about it or try to get creative and come up with action items. You got them all right there in the book. Analyze,
Yes.
yeah, analyze your business, what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Yeah. We need to do that, right? We should be doing that on a regular basis. Because, stop doing what's not working for you and do more of what is. And then when you do that, it's like, okay, so then what else? If I'm stopping one thing, what else can I do that I can implement? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything else? All right, so again, I have a number of classes that I do teach. I've got them up here. I've also got them up here on the board. If you like how I teach you and you want to see me more, go to your board and say, look, Paul teaches all these classes. We'd love to have him come in here and teach a class. Because it's just really tough. They've got the same instructors. They tell you that, they want to bring in new instructors, and they want new courses, but then they keep hiring the same teachers, teaching the same courses over and over again. So I've tried to get creative and come up with some new courses. I'm technically a newer instructor for the state of Florida, although it's been 3 years, maybe going on 4 years. But it's really, or has been the hardest board office for me to get into. So, because they've got their friends. So I actually teach down in Osceola County a lot more than I teach here in Ora. So these are just a list of classes. And then this is how you can get in contact with me. My link has all my contact information, my social media, everything that if you want to check out anything I'm doing, you can check it out there. It also has a link to my new academy that I will send out an email, give you. I'll send you an email with the link, but I'll give you a group name to look for as you log in. And in that group will be everything you need for this course and all the handouts and the downloads. And if you want to join our mastermind, I do a mastermind, a mentorship mastermind every Monday morning on Zoom. Okay, and this is open to everybody. That's a QR code. You're welcome to join in. We talk about a lot of different topics. Last Monday it was all about time management. Okay. Next week we'll probably. I know we got lead generation coming up again. We've talked about that. That's something that it's like every so many weeks it seems we bounce back to lead generation because there's new things we can do, different topics and so forth. But we change it up. We open it for discussion. So feel free to sign up. You'll get reminders on that. And we'd love to see you take part on that. So other than that, any other questions, comments? So I do have, I've got a book giveaway. This is one of my favorites. Anybody hear of Phil M. Jones? Phil M. Jones, he came out with a book called Exactly What to Say. And then he followed up with exactly how to sell. And he's got another book, and he's got a great sales presentation. I'll actually have that uploaded into my academy. But this is one he partnered with a couple local guys. It's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. This is a great book. So when they came out with this, I actually, I was still a managing broker and I bought a whole bunch of them. And we started doing a mastermind in the office and bringing this in and talking about it. So I've got this to give away today. And then, so I'll need your business cards to do the drawing. And then for anybody that would like to give me a video testimony, did everybody like my presentation today? Everybody think the class was good? Okay, great. All right, well, if you're willing, and this is something we've started with our buyers and sellers, as well as my students, we're doing video testimonials. So what I do is I give an ethical bribe. If you're willing to give a video testimonial, this is the latest book that I wrote and published. It's called Living Well in Turbulent Times, Mastering Your Mental Wealth. Okay, I would be happy to give you a signed copy in exchange for 15, 20 seconds of your time to just give a little video testimonial. So we'll do that as we wind up here, but if anybody is interested, we'll. Maybe after wine. Wow. Yeah, that could be a little risky, but yeah, look, we will be here if you want to do it. I'd love to have it. If you don't, that's fine. I understand, the reluctance to be in front of a camera and do all that. But 15, 20 seconds, it's nothing. And just speak from the heart, how you felt, what you thought, and you had a good time. So other than that, we are here. We're just a few minutes early, which is fine. I hope you go back now and take this, keep your book as a reference and put those action items to work for you. All right. And I'll see you in the next class. Okay. Thank you.